Tommy Lasorda and the Dodgers react as Jay Howell gets Dave Parker to pop out and end Game 4. The Dodgers are within one victory of what could be one of the most improbable championships in history. Trying to nail it down, they hand the ball to Orel Hershiser, who has been all but superhuman of late. Shutouts in 7 of his last 10 starts, including blankings of the Mets to win the pennant and of the A's to win Game 2 of the series. The Dodger hope for tonight, Hershiser and champagne. Another beautiful night in the Bay Area and standing room only at the Oakland Coliseum. 49,000 here, hoping the A's can stave off elimination. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Costas. Their backs are to the wall, but it's been done before. Kansas City was down 3-1 against the Cardinals in '85. They came back to win. Dave Parker is over there on the Oakland bench, remembering his 1979 Pirates. Trailing 3-1 against a very good Oriole team, they managed to win the World Series. But if Oakland is to do it, they've got to beat Hershiser tonight, then win the last 2 at Dodger Stadium. Hershiser has been incredible, but is he invincible? Not necessarily, says Tony La Russa, as he told Marv Albert.
I think we're going to give Hershiser fits tonight because our guys, we need it. You know, we're in what you call, those must-win situations. But, they've seen him once. He's definitely capable of shutting you down. If he makes great pitches, it's tough to make contact.
Are you embarrassed by what has taken place?
It's a good question, Marv. I just talked to the club about that. No, I'm not embarrassed. You know what embarrasses me? Lack of effort. If we have absolutely no idea what we're doing out there. And, yes, we made a bad throw a couple games ago. Yesterday, a couple of errors in the game. Lack of effort embarrasses me. If you get beat when you're giving it your shot, there's no guarantees in this game. So I'm actually, I'm the opposite. I've never been prouder of a team that I've been with than the Oakland A's in 1988, and I'll talk about from the first day right through the 4th game of the World Series.
La Russa goes tonight. He was the loser against Hershiser in Game 2. But around the country, all eyes will be on this man. The Dodgers have their main man going, hoping he can pop the corks for them tonight. The first pitch coming up. Vin Scully and Joe Garagiola will be here right after this.
The 1988 World Series.
It's a beautiful blue sky day in Oakland, and nobody cares. There's a light breeze blowing from right to left, and nobody cares. What they do care about is Game 5 of the 1988 World Series. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully, along with Joe Garagiola. There's a lot of caring in town, and especially in the dressing rooms, as we finally get down to push against shove.
I think in the Dodger dressing room, Lasorda is being his motivator self, because it's one of those days of be yourself, guys. We played with the lineup that everybody thought we'd get beat last night, and we won, and we're going to win with this lineup. And I'm sure he's saying to Hershiser, just be yourself and we'll be all right.
Tommy Lasorda is a man who craves the spotlight, and he has been in the spotlight. Tony La Russa, the other way around. An interesting thing about the Oakland Athletics, when they clinched the division, instead of going out the next day and let's say like Lasorda visiting in the press box, they went out and racked up Frank Viola 12-3. It's also a ball club that beat Roger Clemens. So when you're talking about the Oakland A's and backs against the wall and all that kind of stuff, remember Tony La Russa, and more than just a workmanlike ball club, a club that won 104 games during the regular year.
If they play the way they played to get here, everybody's going to be all right.
Play is the magic word, so let's get to it. And the A's take the field. The ceremonial first ball throwing is already history, and history is the proper word to apply to it.
I thought it was great. Most valuable players in those great years here at Oakland, Gene Tennyson, Reggie Jackson, and Rollie Fingers. There they are, Rollie Fingers in the middle.
And just a reminder to the 1988 A's, there's some greatness around here. Here's the Dodger lineup. Steve Sachs, who has hit in all 4, followed by Franklin Stubbs. He'll be at first base. Mickey Hatcher has hit in all 4. He's in left field. Mike Marshall returns to the lineup in right. John Shelby in center. Mike Davis will be the designated hitter. Rick Dempsey Dempsey will be the catcher. The word on Socia is in absolute desperation could he be used, otherwise no. Hamilton at third, and the shortstop, Alfredo Griffin. Right-hander Storm Davis, who went 3 1/3 innings in his matchup. So he comes back a 16-game winner during the regular year, trying to keep the A's afloat, trying to carry this series down the road to Los Angeles.
He has a slow, deliberate windup. Fastball with tail when it's down, and a curve is a big downer. And his defense that he'll have behind him, a couple changes by La Russa. Javier is in left field, Henderson in center field, Canseco in right field, and in the infield you see Phillips at second base, and the rest of it stays the same. Hasse is behind the plate. I would think he wants to get Javier and Phillips in there to get some base runners, and they haven't had 3 base hits in the same inning the whole series, which is a bit unusual.
Unusual to say the least for an Oakland A's team that has torn up the league. And Steve Sachs, Franklin Stubbs, and Mickey Hatcher.
Vin, in front of home plate, just watching batting practice, it seemed like when you hit down on that ball, it was taking that big hop. I don't know if it's harder than normal, but I'll tell you, you got to be alive for that.
So Sachs to lead it off, and a little chin music. Ball 1, 1-0. If you remember, in the Dave Stewart game, Sachs was hit by a pitch. So Storm Davis behind 2 balls and no strikes. Storm, born in Dallas, Texas. He'll be 27 years old the day after Christmas. In there, turn 1. Jerry Crawford of the National League behind the plate. Larry McCoy, Doug Harvey, Gerwood Merrill, Darrell Cousins, and Bruce Fremming out on the foul line. Chopper to the right side. Phillips short hops nicely, throws him out.
The big hop that Phillips had to play on the short hop didn't get as high as you would think it would. It was a good play by Phillips. He has to short hop, but he can't get that big hop. That is the in-betweener, too. That was a good play. Certainly not a routine one.
We stress that there is nothing wrong with Glenn Hubbard. So Tony Phillips opening up at second base, and here is Franklin Stubbs. Off speed.
See if Lasorda is a prop, but he said Stubbs is going to hit one out of here tonight.
There's Glenn Hubbard sitting in the dugout. A strike to Stubbs, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Stubbs will be 28 years old tomorrow. Bill Russell will be 40 tomorrow. Breaking ball in there.
That's a big downer. Not only was it a big breaking curveball, he took something off, used it as a change of speed pitch.
So he'll give you a fastball, a cut fastball, a slider, and that big overhand curve. And that's promptly hooked into right field for a base hit. Canseco over to get it. Stubbs holding with a 1-out single, and that will bring up Mickey Hatcher.
By number 9, Mickey Hatcher.
Mickey Hatcher has also hit in 4 straight. Hatcher in last night's game had a hit-and-run single to right field, and the very first thing Stubbs did was look over towards Lasorda. So we'll see if the Dodgers put a play on here at the outset. And Hatcher
wants another sign.
Yep, he's double-checking with Joe Amalfitano.
Wants to stay away from that double play. He'll put the play on.
1 ball and no strikes.
Hatcher's been a ball player, Vin, that's been in the middle of everything, but then it gets lost with the heroics. I mean, he's made some great plays in the outfield, some big base hits. Last night, he was in the middle of that hit-and-run play. He has been a most valuable player for these Dodgers.
Off the rubber. Hatcher has not only hit in 4 straight, he's 9 out of 10 in postseason play. No strikes, and they're going to watch Stubbs.
You know, with all the backing out and looking at Amalfitano going through the signs, Hasse is constantly looking at his bench because he wants to get some help and see if those guys have picked up anything.
Not gone, fouled off. Stubbs, during the regular year, had a very good success ratio as a base runner. He was 11 out of 14. He's a big fella, but he runs well. So you have a pretty good combination of some speed at first and a contact hitter at the plate. 1-1.
He's looking at La Russa.
Off the rubber. No manager likes to fall into a pattern. The pattern for Lasorda has been to play hit and run 2-1. The count here is 1-1. And there's a high drive into deep left field. Back goes Javier. Gone. Mickey Hatcher, a 2-run home run.
And that Dodger bench almost feeling like, well, that's enough. Look at them all waiting for Hatcher.
So Mickey Hatcher, who has had a storybook year, remember he called, or had his agent call, to try and get a job with the Dodgers, and he thought he was going to Albuquerque. And when the agent called back and said, you're a Dodger, he wound up going with the big club.
You know what he just did? Shaking hands with everybody.
Marshall, a chopper slowly to third. Carney Lansford in a hurry and takes care of it.
He hit Peranowski with a right hand right across the head, knocked his cap off. He's dangerous when he hits home runs in the bench.
Hatcher, who hit 1 home run during the entire season, hits his 2nd home run in the World Series.
He looks like he learned from that first home run. He's going to watch it all the way, and he kind of slowed down. You remember in Los Angeles, he ran like he thought somebody was going to take it off the scoreboard.
Here's John Shelby now. 1 ball and no strikes. So if you joined us a bit late with 1 out, Stubbs single to right. Hatcher homered and Marshall grounded out. And here is Shelby. One ball, 1 strike.
You never know until you talk to him, of course, but I always hated to see pitchers worry that much about a Franklin Stubbs. I mean, you got to worry about the hitter, and you wonder how much concentration he lost by throwing over to first base and worrying about whether it's a hit and run. Get the batter. 1 out.
On the inside corner, good pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You imagine Hatcher is the hero, and he finds out he's going to play by looking at Bill Russell. If the thumb is up, you're in there. If it's down, you're not. And he says, I never worry where.
And that takes care of Shelby, but the Dodgers add 2 on the scoreboard. And at the end of half an inning, Dodgers 2, here come the A's. Baseball's answer to a loose cannon.
He's going to have to go to the instructional league to work on his home runs. He doesn't believe it. Now he's going to bash, and he hurts his hand. He hit Peranowski's, so he knocked his cap off. I tell you, he enjoys a home run.
Now it'll be Stan Javier, followed by Dave Henderson and Jose Canseco. Javier never quit on that home run by Hatcher. A lot of times you see outfielders just stay in their tracks, but not Javier. If there was a possible miracle catch to make, he was going to give it his best shot.
And did you see Hershiser? Here it is. He really gets
run up the wall.
He's done this a lot of times. Look at him.
It was about 4 rows back up into the seats.
Did you see Hershiser before? Point to Sachs, the second baseman. Javier likes to drag that ball. This is a big inning for Hershiser. Has to shut him down right here to send a message back, and the A's have to do something.
Javier basically a high ball hitter, and the other way around for Hershiser, who starts him at the knees with a strike. 0-1. The son of Julian Javier, who played in 3 World Series, one of them against Oakland. Strike. Dodgers 2, A's nothing, bottom of the first. No balls and 2 strikes to Stan.
Keeps you honest. He came inside. Javier not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. Took 2 of them right down the middle.
Hamilton back to a normal depth, so they're not expecting any attempt to bunt with 2 strikes. He's a better bunter left-handed than right. One ball, 2 strikes. Ground ball hard. Sacks in front of it, throws him out. So Javier hit it hard, but right at the second baseman. That'll bring up Dave Henderson.
As always, strikeouts and ground balls. That's what you'll see if Hershiser has his good stuff.
He'll need good stuff because Dave Henderson put on an awesome show last night. He went 4 for 5. Stubbs took a hit away from him, and he followed with 3 singles and a double. He had an RBI and a run scored. So the big man looked like he had his stroke back. And as usual now, with the A's behind, Henderson is very important, but he's going to pop it up to Griffin.
And that was a breaking ball. He's a first ball fastball hitter, and Hershiser, who has that personal computer as his companion, and in fact in Los Angeles, to make sure he knew what he was doing, he had a plastic card in his back pocket. Here's the breakdown of the 3 balls in the outfield by Hershiser. Amazing, isn't it? Strikeouts and ground balls.
Well, we'll see now what happens with Jose Canseco. In talking to several of the A's before the game, saying, what are you trying to do different to get out of the slump, to get something going? They were talking about hitting down more. They do have several guys who uppercut the ball, and of course it pays off with a lot of home runs. So we'll see whether Canseco's going to try and go down after one of those sinkers or that usual swing of his in there.
I tell you, that's such a powerful swing that any tinkering of the swing of swinging down as opposed to up would really hurt him.
That was one thought I had, but I was afraid to ask him that. You know, isn't it the wrong time to start to tinker?
No, that's right.
1 ball and 1 strike. Chopper foul right by Jim Lefevre, and the count 1-2.
See, I think the Javiers and the Phillips and the Weiss and maybe Lansford, not even him so much. And that's why, if I were the Oakland Ball Club, I would have hardened in front of home plate. If I'm the Dodgers and I have a chance to work on the grounds, I would have softened it so that the sinker ball doesn't jump, that it slows down. I want it to jump because Storm Davis is not a sinker baller, and I want my guys to get the advantage of hitting Hershiser's sinker.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Jose Canseco, and Hershiser not ready. Now I'm getting a workout. Breaking ball, and he kind of sidearmed him. He really got under that to give it such a big roundhouse curve. And at the end of an inning, 2-0 Dodgers. We go to the second inning, 2-0 Dodgers. The designated hitter, Mike Davis, followed by Rick Dempsey, and then Jeff Hamilton. And the count, 1 ball and no strikes. 1-1.
Ben Hines, the hitting coach, when Mike Davis was taking batting practice, kept saying, stay inside. What he meant is keep your hands inside the ball. Don't go around and get it. Don't let your hands get around the ball. And he was really bearing down on that.
He hit a lot of home runs, as you probably know, up here at Oakland, and they pinch the middle on him. They give him the lines. So Canseco over towards right center, and Javier more over towards left center. You'd figure a home run hitter, he'd have more of a chance of pulling it down the line into the corner. 2 balls and 1 strike. Storm behind now, 3-1. On deck, Rick Dempsey, and he is asked to carry the entire load tonight. Dr. Frank Jobe said that Socha could catch a half an inning maybe, and they would really be in trouble if they had to use him. It always seems unfair, but we mentioned that earlier. The hitter always gets time granted because they're afraid of injury, that maybe something's wrong and he can't see the pitch. And there's ball 4.
If you wonder what a sidearm pitch does, watch this. When Hershiser drops his arm to Canseco, definitely sidearm. Now get a good look at Canseco trying to swing at it, how he just diffuses all the power. He's reaching, his weight is all the way back. Can hardly reach it because the sidearm forced him to bail out. Good pitch when you throw it on that outside part of the plate.
And you don't see Hershiser do that very often, so it's also a tribute to Canseco that he decided to go to that pitch. Here's Dempsey. 1-0.
Vin, he has started the first 7 hitters with the ball. The exception is Marshall, who hit the first pitch, so he's fallen behind, and that's danger time.
Orel Hershiser resting between innings with a 2-0 lead here in the second. Hatcher will never rest.
The players even tell him, sit down, and he says, I can't, my motor's running.
1 ball and no strikes. The count to Rick Dempsey. Davis pretty good lead at first. And a chopper to shortstop. Backing up is Weiss. Goes to Phillips. Back to first. Double play.
That double play was slow in developing, and Phillips really had to hang in there knowing Mike Davis was coming down the line, and he really makes a tough pivot. It would have been easy for him to just get on out of the neighborhood. Now he knows Mike Davis is coming. He's standing right there, and you could see Davis could have spiked him. Watch Davis's right foot as it hits Phillips right there in the leg, and down he goes. That's a tough double play.
So Tony Phillips, playing in place of Glenn Hubbard, makes a gutsy turn. The A's get the double play, and here is Jeff Hamilton. Strike. So that breaks that string of first pitch being called balls. It took a call strike to do it.
Well, they call the double play the pitcher's best friend. You can see what it did. It gives him 2 big outs on the scoreboard and confidence to just throw a strike.
1-1. Hamilton, very much of a streak hitter. He had 2 8-game streaks during the year. The Dodgers were hoping that he'd get on a streak now. The toughest time of all.
Looks like Davis has a good break on the curveball. The base hit that Stubbs got was on a curveball, but it just seemed to hang. But now it seems to be biting more. Maybe a tighter grip. It's a tighter spin for sure.
2-1. Fastball and a good play by Storm Davis on a comebacker. No runs, no hits, nobody left. And at the end of an inning and a half, Dodgers 2, A's nothing. Bottom of the second inning here in the Oakland Coliseum. Dave Parker, Mark McGuire, and Ron Hasse with the Dodgers leading 2-0.
Hershiser's having trouble with his spikes. He wants a tongue depressor or something to clean his spikes. Tell you, he's like a doctor going into an operating room. Everything has to be just right, and why not?
Meanwhile, Dave Parker, who almost knocked him out of his shoes the last time. Remember, he had all 3 hits against Hershiser. And he'll start it off. Certainly, if the A's needed any extra inspiration, Parker could provide it. Just going back to his own career in that '79 World Series for the Bucks. Line drive at Sachs. And was that thing hit on the screws?
McGuire is the next batter. He hit the home run off Jay Howell. He's a low fastball hitter. Won that game, but here's last night. Now watch Belcher on the outside corner. Perfect pitch gets him. Here's a pitch. It looks like the same pitch he hit for the home run. Right down the middle, gets under it, had a real good swing. Again in the 7th inning. Looks like he has a good cut, gets under it. And the difference being, when you get under it, it's the pop fly. The other night, home run.
And the first pitch is hit foul back at third, and the count 0-1. 4 outs so far recorded by Hershiser. And Javier hit his ball very hard at Sachs. And Parker almost took Sachs' hands off. 0-1 the count to McGuire.
Henderson had a good swing, Vin, although he popped up. But Canseco, he was really disarmed with the sidearm pitch, was the really effective out that Hershiser's got.
The thing that frustrated McGuire in the last time he hooked up with Hershiser, not that he went 0 for 3, but he hit into 2 double plays. He followed Parker base hits with double play ground balls. 2-1.
That's a curveball that just didn't break. McGuire's right down the end of the bat as we look at Lasorda. In fact, his little finger is practically off the bat. I think it is. There you see it. I mean, if he got any lower on the bat, he'd have a handful of knuckles.
2-1 to Mark McGuire. Fastball in there, 2-2.
I think that's a pitch that McGuire was really wanting to take a shot at. You could see him just kind of bump his head down as if to say, why did I take it?
I'm surprised because he is a dead low ball hitter, and that's just what he got. 2-2. And he got another one, and he hits a high drive to center, but Shelby will make the catch. Similar to a ball that Mark hit the other night that Shelby caught on the warning track. It was prior to McGuire's home run that won the game. 2 down.
He's had good cuts. The players, when they talk about swings, they say McGuire's had good cuts. It's Canseco who's been kind of defensive in his swings, very tentative, but McGuire has been getting under the ball.
Here's Ron Hasse, who had a very dramatic pinch hit last night. Remember, with 2 out, he pinch hit for Hubbard, and by getting on base, it guaranteed Canseco an at-bat. The fact that Canseco struck out in the 9th was not the point. The hit by Hasse at least gave him that opportunity.
He's a dead pull hitter. Tough to pull Hershiser if he keeps it outside. They give him a lot of room. Hasse gets a lot of room in left center field.
1-0. And he lifts a fly ball to left. Hatcher's there. And at the end of 2, the Dodgers 2, the A's nothing. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
The 1988 World Series is brought to you by your Toyota dealer. Whatever car or truck you choose, you'll love the quality. Who could ask for anything more?
That overhead shot provided by the Goodyear Blimp Columbia, piloted by Captain Tom Mattis from Huntington Beach, California. You know, in 1958, a Goodyear Blimp first helped televise a World Series game. The Milwaukee Braves overcame a 3-1 deficit. And the question here in Oakland, will history repeat? Hershiser thinking things over because he has not been the same pitcher we saw in his first outing against Oakland. In game 2, in his first 4 innings, he was really in command. He struck out 5, and there was only 1 ball hit in the air. Drag bunt by Griffin. McGuire the feed, and he's out. Well, what a windup by Larry McCoy.
He really sold that call. Larry McCoy had to sell that call because it was that close. Now, everybody's been waiting for Griffin to do this, to drag it by the pitcher. McGuire really makes a good play by making the decision to get it. And now it's a race between Davis and Griffin, and he just does beat him. And watch McCoy. He really sells this call. That was really close. Good bunt. Good play.
Second base runs
It's a race.
Griffin thinking he had it beaten. A good play by Davis to leg him. Hatcher pacing away. Nothing new. Then we go to the 3rd with 1 away. The batter now, Steve Sachs. Good breaking ball. You see Sachs jerk his head out of the way as the bottom dropped out of it. 0-1.
Davis has made 2 nice plays. He had that comebacker hit by Hamilton, and now this play by Griffin.
0-2 the count.
You know, Vin, what you're talking about with Hershiser, outs are outs, but that's not his pattern, and I'm sure Peranowski and Lasorda are watching that because he's not getting ground balls, he's not getting strikeouts.
He got a ground ball from Javier, but the ball was hit very hard. Henderson popped it up. Parker lined out, and then he fly balls from McGuire and Hasse. So that is not the Hershiser that you normally see.
Remember in that graphic we showed you in that other game, Hershiser's game, as we look at Stubbs, there are only 2 balls hit to the outfield. There's already been 2 balls hit to the outfield, and we're only in the completed 2 innings.
Up the middle, and it'll be a base hit for Sachs. So a one-out single means Sachs and Hatcher are the only two players in the series to have hit safely in each game, 5 in a row.
Storm Davis has a good move to first, and he's quick to unload. So Sachs, if he's going to steal, will have to really almost gamble that he's coming to the plate, Davis.
You know, we were wondering, speculating earlier about how Storm Davis might have been worrying about Stubbs and served up the home run ball to Hatcher. Certainly he has something to worry about now with Sachs.
I go along with that because Stubbs is just not going to put the fear of running into me, and I thought he was thrown over there too much. Sachs, he's going to worry you.
And also different with Hatcher, you're thinking hit and run. You certainly are not thinking hit and run with Franklin Stubbs. In other words, if Sachs is going, it is not a hit and run play. It's a straight steal because Stubbs has always been a feast or famine hitter. He strikes out too much to put on a play.
Sachs, one of those guys, has the green light. If you think he can make it go, and he's edging off. He wants to go.
1 ball, no strikes. Off the rubber.
Good shot of Sachs sizing up everything.
And a pretty good move by
sir.
Storm Davis because he had Sachs leaning back towards the bag.
He backed him off.
2-0.
Good runners worry about the throw to the plate, not the pickoff move, the move to the plate.
Hasse looking over into the Oakland dugout. And Davis off the rubber again.
With the 2-ball, no-strike count, you would really want Sachs to stay there to make sure that if Stubbs, who has the green light, wants to take that rip for the extra base, that he can, but you certainly can't take anything for granted. For me, Sachs would stay and let Stubbs get that one good swing at a 2-0 pitch.
And they pitch out 2-0. There's one in a million.
Well, that's got to come from La Russa. I would not have done that. I don't think I'd take the bat out of his hands. That was really a gamble. You got to have to ask permission, and you have to worry about what does that do to the pitcher. He's 2-0 behind. Now he's 3-0. If he walks him, you're in pretty good trouble.
See if Stubbs swings 3-0, taking all away.
I would make him take, but I'll tell you what. Now you're liable to see the merry-go-round start and Stubbs swinging. But it's up to Sachs if he gets a good enough jump because he swings and misses a lot of pitches. He wants to know if Sachs is running right there because you know he's hitting.
3-1. 1 out, top of the third. Dodgers 2, A's nothing. Time. Sachs going, and the pitch fouled away upstairs. Well, if Lasorda put it on 3-1, he is certainly going to have him going 3-2.
I really think that was a straight steal, Vin, because I was watching Saxey all the way. He didn't even bother to look back at Stubbs.
No, you can't put a play on with Stubbs because so many times he'll swing right through the pitch. Sachs goes, and it's lifted into left center, but playable. Javier is there. Stand for the catch, and Sachs returns. 2 out, and Mickey Hatcher, who started the Dodgers off certainly on the right foot in the first inning. Javier trying to make the catch, but ran out of real estate. So here's Mickey, who has hit in 5 straight. Sachs goes down and away, and the throw got him. What a throw by Hasse. Beauty.
The key to that throw was on the first base side of the bag. You really have to appreciate this tremendous throw. It was not a good ball to handle. Hasse had a little trouble getting out of the glove, but he puts enough on it that really Phillips just has to drop that glove, and Sachs tags himself out. If it's on the shortstop side, I doubt if he gets him just perfect. And Doug Harvey right there, and you talk about selling calls. Those umpires are doing it tonight.
Well, here's Carney Lansford, followed by Tony Phillips and Walt Weiss. Third inning, 2-0 in favor of the Dodgers. Lansford, the last time he faced Hershiser, was in a leadoff role. In fact, Carney had been the A's leadoff hitter in 5 in a row, but he's struggling with the bat, so they dropped him now to the number 7 slot. And he was 0 for 14 until he had the RBI last night. Ron Hasse, who made that fine throw to get sacked. You talk about right on the money.
He really had to throw it hard.
0-1 to Carney Lansford. Line drive, base hit to center. When Hershiser pitched in Game 2 of the series, he allowed 1 hit in the first 4 innings while striking out 5. That was like an echo going by.
He was set to field that ball, but you could see he just didn't have any idea where it was. Very difficult when you're throwing 60 feet 6 inches away, finishing up like that, to really get your sights on that hard hit ball. He was positioned right, but boy, it was hit hard.
Here's Tony Phillips, who played every position this year but pitcher and catcher, and finally takes over at second base. The league considers this switch hitter a better hitter as a right-handed batter. But he's in there tonight hitting left-handed against Hershiser. And a low ball hitter from this side of the plate. So it'll be strength against strength.
And knowing kind of what they call a ping hitter, moves that ball around, a contact hitter.
A year ago, he was the team's regular leadoff man and fractured his wrist. Then this year, Rick Cerrone crashed into him and knocked him out for 49 games. And when he came back, Hubbard and Gallego had the job. That's a strike. 0-1 to Tony Phillips from Atlanta. He will occasionally hit and run, and he's looking at Lefebvre. But whether he would do it down 2-0 in the third inning and hitting left-handed, we'll see. Stubbs on the bag, of course, to hold Lansford.
Lansford is a good base runner. I mean, you can do a lot of things with him. He's one of the guys that Tony let steal.
There's Oral Hershiser's father. You might remember Mr. and Mrs. Hershiser threw out the first ball at Dodger Stadium. Little League Parents of the Year. 0-1. 1-1.
Seems to be walking around the mound more than I've seen him do it.
Dodgers 2, A's nothing, bottom of the third. Carney Lansford, a pretty good lead at first. Lansford's going. Ground ball to the hole. Smothered by Griffin. No play. So they put that hit and run play on. And he got away with it.
Tony La Russa's going to try to make some things happen. He just makes contact, hits the ground ball, and with Lansford breaking, Griffin had to cover second. He backtracks, keeps the ball in the infield, and doesn't allow Lansford to go to third. But now they're on the verge of, for the first time in this series, having more, or getting at least 3 base hits in an inning.
Now the question is, does the number 9 hitter ask to bunt? Walt Weiss with the tying runs aboard. 2-0 Dodgers in the third. He is a good bunter. He can push it or drop it up along third. In one big bunt situation, he did not bunt. Instead, hit a fly ball to center. So let's see this time.
La Russa likes to give him one swing if they're playing too tight.
Not this time. He shows bunt immediately. Ball 1.
I would think he would be bunting all the way to get him over there. They have no room to try any trick plays. It's back to the basics.
After Weiss, you have Stan Javier. 1 ball and no strikes. Look at Griffin really bird-dogging Lansford at second. Ball 2. So Hershiser, who was a long way from the Hershiser we saw in Game 1 as far as command, and the A's are trying to catch him here in the third inning.
So he's wild high, which is unusual. He doesn't seem to be really in charge.
Stubbs looking bunt now. He's convinced. And there it is. Dempsey will make the play to Sachs, and the tying runs are at second and third with one out.
Beautiful punt. Once it got to that grass, really slowed down. And Weiss moves him over.
So Stan Javier, who remember hit the ball very hard, but right at Sachs, will be coming up. Big play to have Lansford going and have Phillips single to the hole at short. One away, third inning. The infield is back. Hamilton, of course, stays near the bag with a left-hand hitter out. The outfield split with a gap in right center.
Sort of willingly ready to give up a run for an out. You're early in the game.
Look. Boy, that bat went flying. 0-1 to count. Javier, in looking at his numbers, struck out a little bit more than he'd like to, especially when you realize he had only 2 home runs. First base open.
They really give him a lot of room in right center field.
You saw Orel's father and his wife, Jamie. 0-1. And it's hit in the air to left. Hatcher is there. Tagging is Lansford. The catch is made. Lansford will score.
The bunt by Weiss, moving him over, picks up the run. They get the sacrifice fly back to the basics.
So Lansford singled, and then they had him going, and Phillips sets up the inning with that hit-and-run single to the hole at short, then the bunt, and then the fly ball. And this is the theory that La Russa was selling to his ball club. Play within yourself. Never mind the home run. Never mind the Oakland Bashers. Let's play a little ball, and that's what they're doing in this inning.
And that's a big run because they literally tell everybody, hey, he's not invincible. We did score off him. We're going to score some more.
Phillips, the tying run at second base with 2 out. Henderson, who had 4 hits last night, either was looking for that or just walked into it. In other words, if he was looking at a pitch on the outside part of the plate, he had to drive him away.
That was a good pitch. If you don't pitch inside, you're not going to win in the big leagues. And that was a high, tight fastball. That was not a knockdown. That was a good pitch.
Henderson is a notorious first ball hitter, so they took that away. And now they try to jam him. Ball 2.
Dempsey doesn't like where he's spotting that ball. He was locating outside, and he came inside again.
2-1 Dodgers, third inning. It has been remarkable, but this crowd here in Oakland now, they're hoping he's run out of miracles. Two balls, no strikes. Missed the corner. And, of course, waiting his turn on deck, Jose Canseco. Three 3-0 to Henderson. Ball 4.
Karanowski wants to talk to him. It could be he's trying to be fine, but he's just not fine-tuned yet because he's doing a lot of things he didn't do the other night or in the streak, I'm sure. He's not getting strikeouts. He's not getting the ground balls, walking around a lot. And I think Karanowski's just trying to get him back in the groove.
And the big man on the big spot, Jose Jose Canseco struck out, remember, on that big sidearm curveball. Boy, this crowd is really into this one early.
And well, they should be. And it was the hit-and-run play and the bunt, the little things in baseball, little ball that really got this inning going.
Phillips at second, Henderson at first with 2 out. Time, no pitch. That's Jamie Hershiser, Oral's wife. Recently gave birth to their second son.
Hey, they're doing that to Oral just a little bit too often not to have been planned.
He started him sinker inside and down, and Dempsey going out to talk to him now. 0-1. Jose Canseco. Sinker hit down to Griffin. He goes to Sachs, and they get the force play, but they get a run on 2 hits and lead 2. At the end of 3, Dodgers 2, A's 1. 1 ball and no strikes, the count to Mickey Hatcher. We start the 4th inning. Dodgers 2, A's 1. Hatcher, a 2-run home run in the 1st inning with Stubbs aboard. Strike.
You know, Gene Tennis was here tonight to throw out the first ball. In 1972, he had 5 home runs in the season, 4 in the World Series. Hatcher, 1 home run in the season, 2 on the World Series.
And a high chopper. Tough play for Lansford. Bare hands, throws too late as Hatcher goes in on his landing gear, and the play backed up by Tony Phillips.
Ball really bounced high, and Hatcher, who looked like he was running out of gas for some reason towards first base, went in with a head-first slide. Really gets up there. And all Lansford could do, obviously, is wait for it to come down and barehands it, but Hatcher's in there. Not too graceful, but very effective.
As the golfer said, it ain't pictures, it's numbers, and that's Hatcher now. He's 2 for 2 with another belly whopper. And here's Marshall. Marshall, a very aggressive hitter, like many down on the field, a first ball hitter. And he hit the first pitch in the 1st inning following the home run and grounded out. 0 for 1.
Vin, I love to watch Marshall hit just to watch his feet and legs. It looks like he doesn't do the same thing twice.
1-0. Fouled away. We were talking last night about the problem he has, which is called a mechanical strain. And every time he turns that upper torso, that's the problem area, the lower back. They put him in defensively in the 9th inning. And now, evidently, after taking batting practice today, he feels it's worth the gamble. Ball 2.
There's some terms in baseball that just don't seem to fit. Mechanical strain seems like you'd have to go to a garage to get worked on. A utility player makes you sound like you work for a gas company or electric lights or what.
The word that gets me, and they're using it in the World Series, is motivate. I mean, if you have to be motivated, well, forget it. 2-2 the count to Mike Marshall.
Not only that, those numbers in the contract, those monopoly numbers, that would motivate you.
And I would guess, and it would be a close guess, the winning share would be what? Close to $100,000. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mike Marshall.
Believe it or not, I heard a player say this World Series really cuts into your offseason. I'm telling you the truth.
I'm speechless.
I'm telling you the truth.
3-2 to Marshall, a free swinger. So we'll see what that means with Hatcher at first. He's not going. Fouled away.
It's not the way to watch the game, but watch his footwork if you have nothing better to do, because I tell you, he does something different all the time. That time he just lifted his leg just barely off the ground. Sometimes he taps it. Sometimes he goes way high. But it's not what you do with your feet, it's what you do with the bat.
Got him. And good pitch in on the hands. Marshall unable to get the arms extended, and he's rung up.
He just went after a good pitch to try to foul it off and stay alive and battle it. And I'll tell you, that's a tough pitch. Right in on the hands.
John Shelby, who's been struggling making contact. Storm Davis has 2 strikeouts. Shelby struck out in the first inning. Storm during the regular year had 7 as a high. Dodgers, 4th inning, 1 out. 1 ball and 1 strike. Good pitch.
Big downer. We talked about the big downer that he has, but it's also the pitch before that sets that up. He came inside with a good fastball. He struck Marshall out with a good fastball inside, and that's what makes that curveball effective. If you don't pitch inside, you're a 500 pitcher.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Got him. And for Shelby now, paying the price of that big swing, he has struck out a half a dozen times in the series, twice tonight.
That's the downer, the big overhand curveball. It's the one when we were kids we called a drop. I mean, it comes straight down. There you see the rotation over the top, and he just swings over it. That's a tough pitch. It's a ground ball pitch if it's thrown properly.
So Hatcher led off with a base hit, and he's still there. And here's Mike Davis. 0-1. Dodgers 2 runs, 4 hits. Athletics 1 run, 2 hits were in the top of the 4th.
And don't think that mound is not helping him. I know it's legal and all that, but it's nice and high like at Dodger Stadium. When you get that big downer, it helps you.
Showed him a high fastball, ball 2. I think one of the things about that big overhand curveball that helps you, you give up on it a lot of times thinking it's going to be up around the eyes.
That, but also you're trying to get under it. It gives you the feeling you're hitting uphill.
2-0 to Davis. Held up. 3-0.
Davis thinks that's a strike. And Crawford has been consistent with the call, though, and Hasse just said something to him.
So Storm against Mike. 3 balls, no strike. They let him swing, and a drive to right. Canseco going back. It is gone.
Lasorda gambles on a 3-0 pitch. He got a fastball, and Davis, who came to the Dodgers with the reputation of hitting home runs, hits a 3-0 pitch and picks up 2 runs for the Dodgers.
So Davis, who hit only 2 during the year, hits 1 in the World Series. Hatcher, who hit 1 during the year, hits 2 in the World Series, and the Dodgers lead 4-1.
Sort of turning him loose on a 3-0 pitch.
Rick Dempsey, 4-1.
It's the manager who calls that pitch. And look, Ben Hines says, nice call, Skipper, because it was Lasorda who turned it loose. He's using every edge he can. And sure, Davis hits it, but he's got to have the green light.
1 ball and 1 strike.
I tell you, on the strength of Davis's year, you would have him taken. But he knows he can hit the home run, and maybe this was the time he would do it, and he came through for him.
1 ball and 1 strike, the count to Rick Dempsey. That's a strike.
The psychological thing about that home run is, at first it's a shock, 3-0, but also it comes right after the A's had come back and made Hershiser look like he was not invincible. They score a run, they come back with 2.
Got him on a breaking ball down and away. He struck out the side, but he gives up 2 runs, 2 hits, and at the end of 3 1/2, Dodgers 4, A's 1. than a reason to smile for Mike Davis, who had hit 84 home runs in his career with the A's, 40 of them here at the Coliseum. A free agent, signed with the Dodgers, gets almost $1 million, and he was $1 million bust, and he would be the first to admit it this year. He batted .196, but he might have just hit a $1 million home run. So Mike Davis returns to Oakland. 4-1 Dodgers. And here come the A's now trying to come back, and they lead with Parker, then McGuire, and then Hasse. Parker drilled one in the second inning, but it was right at Sachs. It almost knocked him over. Change. So he's an aggressive hitter. Then the first pitch off speed.
And if you're noticing the people congratulating Mike Davis, Hershiser was one of the first.
So first the change, then the fastball, and Parker a little late, and the count 0-2.
And he got that ball up. That's the one that's almost a contradictory term that Hershiser uses. He calls it his high sinker. And what it does, it runs inside.
No balls, 2 strikes. In at the hands, ball 1. Jay Howell and Mike Davis. You could write quite a bit about that combination. Little foul off to the left and out of play. The A's scored in the third. When Lansford singled, they put a hit-and-run play on, and Phillips singled to the hole at short. Weiss sacrificed, and Javier's fly ball picked the run up. 2-2. Hershiser is not close to having the command that he had earlier, and that's the one thing that really gives the A's some hope. 2-2. Fouled off that sinker.
I'll tell you, the good pitcher is the guy who can still battle you when he doesn't have his good stuff, and that's what Hershiser is doing right now. I mean, a lot of guys, when they don't have that good stuff, they become hope pitchers. I hope I get it over. I hope he hits it. I hope somebody catches it. He is battling to try to find his groove.
What would you say the percentage is of a good pitcher going after the mound with good stuff? 75% of the time?
I would say yes, at least.
Ground ball wide at first. Stubbs is on it, and he'll do it himself. 1 away in the 4th inning, and Mark McGuire the batter.
I'll tell you one thing you see the good pitcher do a lot of times when he doesn't have that good stuff about that 6th inning, gets to that new energy level, and now he's got the good stuff, and you say, well, why didn't he do that in the beginning of the game? And he'd like to agree with you and say, yeah, why didn't I? But I just didn't have it. But he's tough enough to hang tough and go get that good stuff.
Here's McGuire, hit a long fly ball to center in the 2nd inning. 0-1 the count.
They've changed their style a little bit, more breaking balls and off-speed pitches.
Storm Davis thinking of a disastrous 4th inning, especially when you realize he struck out the side. In fact, if Hatcher just hit the ball a little harder, Lansford would have gotten him, and it would have been a very easy inning. 0-2.
Another breaking ball.
No balls, 2 strikes to Mark McGuire. You see how long he held on to that ball on that change.
They have switched off here. The sinker has not been sinking, or it hasn't been moving enough for Dempsey. They'll be showing it to him.
1-2. Got him.
Breaking ball again. McGuire did not see one fastball or one sinker in that sequence.
Only the 2nd strikeout for Hershiser as we zero in on him, and he does likewise on McGuire.
Look at that. He just comes right at you with the breaking ball down. McGuire can't get it.
We've only seen him with that sidearm flat breaking ball on one pitch, and it was a pitch that struck out Canseco in the 1st inning. Now here's Hasse, flied to left. 0 for 1. Made a fine throw to throw out sacks in the third inning. Off speed, breaking ball in there, and the count 0-1.
They've gone completely away from what you would think the scouting report would say about Hershiser. Good control, good sinker. He just hasn't had it, and they're going to other pitches until they find it.
1 ball, 1 strike.
That was the fastball, got it up. You're looking at a struggling pitcher, but you're looking at a guy who knows what he's doing out there and what he has to do.
The hitters know what he's doing. They're trying to make adjustments, and they haven't been able to catch up yet. 4th inning. 2-1. And there's some pretty good hitters right there in that picture. With Canseco and Henderson, McGuire, Baylor, Pashers, and they are studying. 2-1 to Hasse. Ball 3. So he's only tried to throw 2 fastballs to Hasse, and he's missed up and away on both of them. So the 2-out pass brings up Carney Lansford.
His pattern of wildness with the fastball has been the same. I mean, it's been consistent high outside, so it could be a mechanical thing. Nobody has come out as far as Baranowski.
Jose Canseco has to be a patient man. It'll be a while before he gets his licks in. Lansford batting 7th in the lineup. Carney single to center. Remember, he whistled that line drive by Hershiser, opening up the 3rd inning, and eventually came around to score. Right. They're not going to hold Hasse. Stubbs well off the bag, with the A's down by 3, and Dempsey going out to talk to his pitcher.
That's probably what he's going to remind him of, although I think that's what Stubbs told him when he went over to talk to him. And it could be a case to find out how he really feels about this little bit of a change here.
We were talking at the hitters, and of course that's a great part of the Oakland game. Here's what they have done so far. To center, going back is Shelby. He has room and puts it away. So they leave Hasse, and at the end of 4, 4-1 Dodgers. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Hershiser, as you look at him, gets the ball back. You can see the disgust right there. He doesn't like the way he's pitching, but he really shows it as he goes into the dugout. Watch here after the 3rd out. A rare display.
If you just tuned in, he looks like a losing pitcher. He's leading 4-1. Storm Davis is on the mound, and he's being backed up now in the A's bullpen by Greg Cadaret. Well, Cadaret, who's been pitched briefly but very effectively. Behind him now as Hamilton starts off speed for a strike. Hamilton hit the ball hard, and it was handled nicely by Davis in the 2nd inning. 1-1.
I think that home run by Davis really is just such a 3-0 pitch, and this crowd really can't get back into it.
2 balls, 1 strike. Storm Davis. A lot of big numbers for 7 innings. Fouled away down the line, out of play, and the count 2-2. For the Dodgers, home runs from unexpected quarters. A 2-run home run by Hatcher, a 2-run home run by Mike Davis, and they lead 4-1. 2-2. Bounce that.
Did he ever want to really snap that one off? He held on to it so long, threw it so hard, it bounced about 50 feet from the mound. It's not even close.
1-2. The count to Jeff Hamilton. A shot flagged by Lansford. Up and at him to get him. Fine play.
They call him the perfect professional, and there's the reason. Well hit. Looks like a two-base hit. He has it all the way.
You marvel how a man can react that quickly in a fraction of a second.
That position, that's just what you do. You react.
Alfredo Griffin, a strike. Alfredo tried to drag for a base hit in the third inning, and Storm Davis just did beat him to the bag. 1-1.
I'll tell you, as close as that was, if I were Griffin, I'd try it again as we look at Lansford. Highest lifetime fielding percentage among active third basemen, also the best kept secret in baseball.
Half swing for a strike. 1-2.
I think Alfredo can look for the big downer right about now.
You know, A's Vice President Roy Eisenhart thinks the 1982 trade of Tony Armas for Carney Lansford was the key point in the team's development. Where they were going nowhere, that was the beginning of the first step in the right direction. Got him.
He didn't fool with him. Good fastball.
Friends, the 1988 World Series is brought to you by Nissan, inviting you to test drive the new 240 SX. 5 strikeouts for Storm Davis is high for the year, 7 in a game. But he's trailing 4-1. And now Sachs. Sachs grounded out and singled up the middle, was thrown out trying to steal. Gene Nelson has joined Greg Cadaret in the Oakland bullpen. One ball, no strikes. Big breaking ball in there. 1-1.
Tell you, he's got good stuff. The score does not indicate the stuff that he has. He got burned badly on that 3-0 pitch, but Davis has pretty good stuff.
1-1. Meanwhile, Tony La Russa checking the cards, anticipating not only his own moves, but counter moves by Lasorda. In there. 2-2.
He does all kinds of things with the cards, La Russa. He charts pitches to a degree, but he makes notes to himself. He said Dick Williams used to do that a lot.
Little number foul up along third. Dodgers with 2 in the first, 2 in the fourth. The A's are running the third, and we're now in the fifth. Fastball, and he didn't get around on it. There was a lot on that pitch. Good fastball.
There's nothing wrong with his stuff. His fastball, as we look at Franklin Stubbs, high. It's been riding high. The big downer, you've seen that. He's got good stuff.
And Sachs, who can go to right with the best of them, does that.
He may challenge him.
Not this time.
Canseco got over there. Sachs was thinking about it. I'll tell you, last night, Canseco learned about the way they're running. He got over there in good shape. 2 outs, Sachs liable to run at any time.
For the Dodgers now 4 runs and 6 hits, and here's Franklin Stubbs, who singled to right in the first inning, flied to left in the third, and Tony going for the mound, and it might be he'll go to Cadaret right now.
He can use his whole staff. He's got to stop the bleeding.
That's it. So Storm Davis will leave, and Greg Cadaret will come in to go head-to-head with Franklin Stubbs. Greg Cadaret last night struck out the side in the 8th inning, and when he was brought in to pitch to Stubbs, they took Stubbs out for Tracy Woodson, but not tonight. Strike. at first, 2 out in the 5th inning, 4-1 Dodgers. When the A's come up in the bottom half, Tony Phillips, Walt Weiss, and Stan Javier. One ball, one strike. In the Dodger scheme of things, Stubbs doesn't see very many left-handers during the course of the year.
Catteray really taking a good look at Sachs at first base.
After Stubbs, you have right-hand hitters, Hatcher and Marshall. And Gene Nelson still throwing in the bullpen.
And throwing hard.
One ball, two strikes. Just missed 2-2.
He had him fooled, too. You could see that Stubbs started to swing, couldn't really pull it, and just watched it go by. And fortunately for him, it was not a strike.
Shot off Catteray and deflected to the hole on the right side. Everybody safe, and make sure that Greg is okay.
Right back at him. Don't know where it hit him. Sounded like it might have hit him on a kneecap, or he did get the glove there. Appears to be all right.
Hitters don't like to rub, and pitchers don't like to rub.
Barry Weinberg, the trainer out there. Let's watch it. Oh, hit him in a good spot, side of the leg. Didn't hit the knee, hit him in the side of the leg. You're going to get hit. That's not a bad spot.
So Stubbs, line single literally and figuratively off Catteray. He'll go out now, and Gene Nelson will come in. And I don't think it would be necessary for La Russa to claim that Nelson was replacing an injured pitcher. I don't believe that will be invoked. Gene Nelson, who has been very impressive in limited service in the series, will now hook up with Mickey Hatcher with 2 on and 2 out in the 5th, and the Dodgers leading 4-1. One ball and no strikes. You want to talk about odds-on favorite, that's one story. You want to talk about the impossible dream, that would be part of it. Little nubber back to Nelson. Gene will take care of him, and the Dodgers lead 2. And at the end of 4½, Dodgers 4, A's 1. Bottom of the 5th inning here at the Coliseum, 4-1 Dodgers, and the A's now trying to stir themselves. Tony Phillips, Walt Weiss, and Stan Javier. Time.
Now, he waited right until he got into the peak of his windup as we look at what he does between innings.
I think Hershiser was doing this really to try and calm himself down. No fatigue, but he's never really looked right since the start of the game. So this partly to relax, partly to concentrate.
And he's also having something to say at home plate with Phillips, the batter. He was talking to Dempsey, but it looked like he delivered a message there like, I know what you're doing.
Let's go A's, the chant in the background. Phillips had a key hit in the 3rd inning. A hit-and-run single to the hole at short, and it led to Oakland's run.
And Hershiser waited for Phillips, and Phillips stepped out when Hershiser was ready. Got another game going on here.
Anything to break Hershiser's concentration, and I'm sure he's been struggling with it. And he's human. He's aware of the tremendous pressure. And the A's are trying to play a little mind games with him, similar to what the Dodgers tried to do with Bob Welch. In there. 1-1.
He walked all the way into home plate. Says something to Dempsey, but was looking right at Phillips while he was talking.
the chant, "Let's go A's." The gentleman who goes by the title Crazy George is on the A's dugout. The bunt attempt, 2-2.
For the inning, Hershiser, even before he took his first toss, he pointed to Stubbs, he pointed to Hamilton at third, and even to Sachs at second base to be alive for the bunt. Just be on your toes, guys.
2-2. Got him. For Hershiser, that would be his third strikeout. One out in the fifth, and Walt Weiss coming up. That was a calculated gamble. You know, when you think about playing Phillips over Hubbard. Hubbard had missed the league championship series, but he started him in the series, and he was 3 for 9 going into last night's game, then made the errors. Then he decided to play Phillips, who was a much poorer hitter as a left-handed batter. I guess it was a matter of changing luck, trying to force a break.
Trying to force a break, but getting a guy in there who put the ball in play with a little bit of speed. I mean, I think that would be the percentage. You'd see him try, when Phillips was up, he tried to beat out the bunt, didn't do it. Just anything to shake it up.
Another shake-up was in left field. Stan Javier.
There was a thing we talk about so much, even during the season, Vin. He battled, Phillips did, but then Weiss comes up and hits the first pitch. He's batting ninth. You've got to get something started, get base runners on.
Javier grounded out, had the scoring fly ball to drive in the only A's run. We've seen Dave Parker play left, Louis Polonia, and Javier made the start tonight. Switch hitter. 1-0. On deck, Dave Henderson. It's one thing about watching the A's, no matter what the score is, you always have the feeling you're looking at the other pitcher that he's trying to defuse a bomb, and one mistake, well, they scored 800 runs this year and won 104 along the way.
You take Henderson and Canseco, who we're looking at right now, Parker and McGuire, even Hassel and Lansford. You're looking at guys when they go in the batter's box to in scoring position.
Sure. 1-1. 1-2 to Stan. Hershiser checking the defense, and Hatcher very close to the line in left. Shelby in left center. Marshall straight away in right. 1 ball, 2 strikes. In there, and that's his 4th strikeout. He's now retired 4 in a row, and at the end of 5, 4-1 Dodgers. Hershiser is pitching better. He is obviously in a better frame of mind, and he's talking about the hitters stepping out. He is talking to trainer Pat Screener and to 1 or 2 others. Remember the last time we saw him go in the dugout, he fired his glove. He was so angry at himself.
And I'll tell you, you have to give Dempsey some credit behind that plate, because been in that 3rd and 4th inning, he was struggling, and Dempsey got away from the fastball, stayed with the off-speed and the curveball, and that 5th inning when he struck out 2, especially Javier, it was a good fastball that got him. I mean, we always talk about pitch selection, and I'll say it again, there are more pitchers sent to the shower by bad pitch selection than by opposing batters.
You know, you're looking at Jose Canseco, not because he's late, but he assumed somebody had his glove, and he was running out onto the field, and he got into shallow right field, and he didn't have a glove. He had to go back and get it. So Canseco, who could probably play without a glove.
We sure got that left hand all bandaged up. And his right, looks like a fighter.
0-1 to count to Marshall. Then Shelby and Mike Davis. 0-2.
Aggressive is really not enough word for the way he swings.
No.
I mean, his bat is moving from the time it gets to the ballpark.
But it's one thing to be 5'8" and 160 and be aggressive, but when you're strong like he is, you can cause a lot of havoc. Tonight, grounded to third, struck out 0 for 2. Facing Gene Nelson. Nelson's in the books. He was the first pitcher to steal a base since the designated hitter was introduced in '74, and he even pinch hit 3 years ago. Fouled away. That was in a give-up game against Cleveland. And he he hit for Greg Walker. How'd he make out? He hit into a double play.
It's a no-ball, two-strike count, and Nelson has been trying to waste the pitch, and Marshall won't let him. He's dangerous with this count.
And I think he cracked his bat. Little fly ball to Canseco. One down. It sounded like a celery stalk. And the batter will be John Shelby. The bottom of this inning, they should really shake the ballpark, because in the 6th inning, the A's will have Dave Henderson, Jose Canseco, and Dave Parker. Strike to Shelby, who has struck out twice. Lansford on the edge of the grass at third. Strike 2. You know, back in the 5th inning, if Lansford didn't make that play on Hamilton, remember the Dodgers had 2 more hits, so he saved not only an extra base hit, but a run. And Shelby, for the 3rd time tonight, strikes out. And for the 7th time in the series. 2 down in the 6th.
That was a good sinker. It was out in the strike zone, but you could really see how alive that ball was.
Strikeout number 1 for Gene Nelson. Now, here's the man. Mike Davis walked in the 2nd inning. And then hit the 3-0 pitch for the 2-run home run in the 4th. Off speed and low.
I tell you, there's a knack to hitting 3-0 pitches. A lot of guys really get over anxious and will chase anything. He got a good fastball, and he knew what to do with it.
1 ball, no strikes. Goes the other way, foul down the left field line and out of play. That will go back in amongst the customers. 1 ball and 1 strike.
It's like calling pitches. I know you know, fellas, Vin, that you call a pitch for them, they get so anxious they'll chase anything, and they'd rather not know what's coming. It's the same way with 3-0.
Just missed the outside corner with the fastball. Ball 2. 2-1 to Mike Davis. On deck, Rick Dempsey. Lifted that foul. Lansford with a lot of room going over. And hits the railing. Tried to backhand it. Came up empty. Good try by Carney, but he can't get there, so Mike Davis still at the plate. 2-2.
I think that's the commissioner's box. It is. Just what he needed, a baseball. He was.
2-2. Well, he walked in the 2nd inning, hit a 3-0 pitch in the 4th for a home run, and now goes 3-2 here in the 6th. And he walked. So a 2-out pass to Davis. Dempsey, the batter, has hit into a double play and struck out. And La Russa still waiting for the big bang, and he has the guns to produce it coming up in the bottom half. Time. We've had a lot of that tonight.
A lot of it.
Storm Davis, Greg Cadore, and Gene Nelson, and Oral Hershiser for the Dodgers. Popped in the air, foul behind the plate. Hasse coming back to the base of the screen. No play.
You know, watching Jerry Crawford, the umpire, walk back before it gets too late, we've not had one rhubarb.
No, in fact, the closest to an argument was whether Sachs had been hit by the bunt last night when Doug Harvey came down the line from 3rd.
And that just got to be a loud whisper. It really wasn't much of a discussion.
No.
The last couple of years, we've had some dandies in these World Series.
0-1. Davis, who would be feeling frisky anyway after hitting that home run, stole 7 out of 10 during the regular year. Jeff Hamilton on deck. 0-2. Dempsey and Ron Hasse. It was Dempsey who called the Dodgers, and it was the A's who kept calling Hasse. And so Dempsey is wearing his uniform, and Ron is in a crouch behind the plate. The A's, they say, called Ron Hasse 4 times a day for over a week.
And Rick Dempsey sat in Fred Clare's office a couple hours until Fred had time to see him.
And Mickey Hatcher asking his agent to beg the Dodgers to give him a job in Albuquerque.
Tony, he was telling that story yesterday. You really had a laugh at it. Said he was out jogging, and he said, I stole my neighbor's paper, which I did every morning. I'd sit on his porch and read it, and I saw where Madlock was hurt, and I just said, hey, call him. And he said, well, another club's interested in you. He said, well, call them. And he said, they're interested, and I think they're going to sign you. He said, well, I'll get ready to go to Albuquerque. He said, no, Los Angeles. And somebody said, were you upset when he told you L.A. instead of Albuquerque?
0-2. Just missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So there are quite a few rather unusual stories in this particular World Series. Along with the stars, there are some unlikely heroes. We're in the 6th. Dodgers 4, A's 1. 2 out. Dave Parker will be hitting 3rd in the bottom half of the inning. There goes Davis, and the ball is hit to right. Canseco with it hit over his head to the wall. It's against the wall. Davis will score. Dempsey will stop at second with a double, and the Dodgers lead 5-1.
Gene Nelson, who is a sinker ball pitcher, really got a high fastball. He got it up there, and Dempsey was waiting for it, and Canseco could not catch up to it. You can see LaRussa just has to walk away from it because it was just pitching Dempsey all wrong. See Davis breaking. Canseco going back, doesn't even come close, and Davis with 2 outs scores easily.
So Jeff Hamilton will come up with Dempsey at second. A run over in the 6th inning. And the Dodgers leading 5-1. Fouled away, and he was so far out in front of that, that really was a cue ball shot. Hamilton could be 2 for 2, but he's 0 for 2.
LaRussa could be upset about a couple things. 2 outs. You got Davis up there. He draws the base on balls, and then you give Dempsey the 1 ball he can hit.
0-1. Good save by Hasse. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hamilton hit the ball hard back to the box. Storm Davis made a good play. In the 5th inning, Carney Lansford made a great play to take a double away from him. Now he's trying to pick up Dempsey. Missed off speed, ball 2. 2-1.
High curveballs. That's a danger zone. That's when the needle gets into the red section.
Popped it up on the left side and foul ground. There's Carney Lansford. And that will be it, but the Dodgers take a run on a hit and leave a man at the end of 5 1/2. 5-1 Dodgers.
Here's the pitch Dempsey gets. Nice high fastball. Now watch when he runs. He thinks, well, it's in front of me. If it goes over his head, I think I got a double. A little more speed. Somebody might be thinking triple. But watch Dempsey now. He knows he's got himself a cinch double. He'll pick up the coach at third base and says, no, I better stay here. Let's not get too frisky.
So Rick Dempsey carrying the load tonight with the injured Socia. And now here are the A's, and we'll see if they can make some noise in the 6th inning with Henderson, Canseco, and Parker, and a very restless crowd just bursting to holler to the 7th. 1-1. Sometimes I think you pitch to a hitter from memory. Mike Davis was a big home run hitter here at Oakland. You know, tonight he hit a 2-run home run and walked twice. The home run came on a 3-0 pitch. You might have forgotten it was the 2-out walk to Mike Davis by Dennis Eckersley that preceded the dramatic home run by Kirk Gibson. All of that to a guy who hit less than 200 during the regular year. Ball 2.
Base on balls has come home, even this bonus run here after 2 outs of base on balls.
High slicing foul ball down the right field line and out of play. 2-2. Dave Henderson popped to short and walked. Remember the last at-bat, the first pitch really drove Henderson off the plate, almost hit him. Well, you have to be quick to hold that bat the way he does. That's 4, now 5 strikeouts for Orel Hershiser. He has struck out 3 of the last 4 men he has faced.
And that was a good curveball once again. Henderson, a fastball hitter, he just didn't get a good one to hit. Here it comes. Good curveball. Look at the rotation, the spin on it. In a good spot, and Henderson just can't come close to it.
When Hershiser shut out Oakland 6-0 in the first meeting, he struck out 8. And he had 5 in the first 4 innings. Now he has 5 with 1 out in the 6th inning. And there are those who can just sit and think. There's a drive to right. Marshall coming up to handle it. Toughest play for an outfielder. Ball hit right at him. So he froze and then finally moved in.
It was the swing by Canseco that really confused him because Hershiser came sidearm with a fastball. Remember, he struck him out with a curveball in the first inning. Sidearm and took his power away, and Canseco kind of hit that off the end of the bat. But when you take that big swing like that, it is confusing, and Canseco can't figure it out.
Oh, he's talking to himself.
And he had a big swing, hit it right off the end of the bat with the sidearm fastball, so Hershiser sidearmed him twice.
Crowd is still looking for somebody to light a torch, and here's Dave Parker, lined out and grounded out. Ball 1.
Fastball, and he has just been showing him the fastball.
Hershiser has had 1 troublesome inning. It was the 3rd.
You notice another thing, he's not walking around as much, Vin. He's just standing on the mound getting the ball.
Change 1 and 2. He was definitely not the pitcher we saw in game 2 at the start of this game. Whether he was not in sync, whether it was nerves, the pressure of the game. Now he's basically looks like himself, as if he's standing at attention to an anthem that no one else can hear. Little dribble, a charging Alfredo gets a pretty good hop and throws out Parker. 7 in a row retired by Hershiser. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
The 1988 World Series is brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet, and by AT&T, the right choice.
We're going to the 7th inning with the Dodgers 5 and the Athletics 1. The Dodgers will have Alfredo Griffin, Steve Saxon, Franklin Stubbs. In the A's bullpen, Rick Honeycutt and right-hander Eric Plunk.
Carney Lansford has already moved in tight at third base. McGuire's back a little bit. When Griffith bunted, he tried to drag it past the pitcher.
Full swing and a high foul. Off third, down the line, into the bullpen, and drops and bounces up into the seats.
I tell you, the ball really stays in play here. In fact, that one that went in and Lansford hit the railing, those are auxiliary seats, so he would have made that play. A lot of foul balls have been caught.
Alfredo Griffin 0 for 2 tonight. Foul the other way.
If he'd have hit that one hard, I think it hit it right off his foot, Ben. That was way inside.
Tracy Woodson has joined Mickey Hatcher. We just told you Honeycutt and Plunk down in the pen, and there they are. Breaking ball missed up. Lasorda, a cheerleader to the end. And the fastball's up.
Well, his wife Jo, with the mother in Greenville, South Carolina, watching it on TV, I'm sure. Went down there, kind of a good luck charm.
Little roller to the right side, playing it very cautiously. Phillip, cautiously to the extent that's a hard-running left-hand hitter, but Tony knew his man. One down. We'll bring up Steve Sachs, who grounded out and singled up the middle and singled to right. He's 2 for 3.
He's a tough hitter when he uses the center of the field to the right field line. In fact, didn't Lasorda used to find him when he really hit those long fly balls and had that kind of friendly bet?
Well, you know, people forget 2 years ago he hit 332. I mean, you really have to be quite a hitter. But he's got quite a bit of ability. 1 ball and no strikes. 5 runs, 8 hits for the Dodgers, 1 run, 2 hits for the A's. McGuire, Hasse, and Lansford due up in the bottom of the 7th. Popped it up. Tony Phillips. Franklin Stubbs will be the batter.
First baseman Franklin Stubbs.
He's been a surprise.
He's hit the ball hard, single to right in the first inning. He was aboard when Hatcher then followed with a home run. And then he really hit a shot off Greg Cataray, who got away cheaply enough, just giving up the base hit. The Stubbs 2 for 3.
And he has done a real good job on defense.
Remember we were talking about Dave Henderson, how he holds his bat, the end of it off his hip. That's the way Stubbs used to hit, left-handed. And now watch what they have him do. Put the bat on his shoulder, but he's still, what they want him to do is to start the swing with the bat on the shoulder.
Hard to break.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Hard to break an old habit. It really is.
Two and 1 to count. Like Henderson, he was also a straight-up hitter. And they've had him bend his knees and at the waist. There's the bat on the shoulder. Ground ball to the hole. Over to get it, McGuire. A foot race won by Nelson. So Gene sets him down in order. At the end of 6 1/2, 5-1 Dodgers. Throughout the World Series, Citicorp has brought you Keys to Success, a feature that has discussed some of the qualities that brought the Dodgers in athletics to the World Series. Here's tonight's segment.
All right, Ben, and the keys to success are brought to you by Citicorp. Well, as the wise man once said, the key to almost everything is timing. Mickey Hatcher and Mike Davis. 3 home runs between them all year, then 3 this week. 1 more in the series than the A's Canseco and McGuire, who had combined for 78. Defying all logic, the Dodgers not only survive injuries, they prosper through them. Exit a hobbling Mike Scioscia, enter Rick Dempsey to smack an RBI double. Apparently for the Dodgers, the trick is to laugh at most of the usual keys to success and just keep chasing the dream.
Lansford. McGuire flied to center and struck out. 0 for 2.
Struck him out on breaking balls.
Starts him. And a little wrinkle, misses. Ball 1. Hershiser allowing 1 run, 2 hits. Fastball hit in the air and down the right field line. In the corner goes Marshall, running to the wall and makes the play.
Ben, I think one of the big things is watching Hershiser just stand on the mound rather than pacing around like he did in the early stages. I tell you, he does a lot of things the way he figures them out now. Here's something he's doing, pours it down his neck. Now watch what he does. Wakes himself up. Early wake-up call. You know, there are a couple of things that pitchers do. You have to learn their habits. It has nothing to do with throwing a baseball. It tells you they're tired. Walking around is one. Checking the defense when they don't normally do it. Grabbing a rosin bag. Shaking off signs. Asking for new balls. And if you don't know those habits, he doesn't give you the message. But Hershiser, look at him standing there now and getting ready to fire him.
And working on Hasse, a strike, 0-1. I tell you, it's cool here tonight. If McGuire had hit that ball on a warm summer's day, that thing would have gone out. Ground foul. And in watching Mike Marshall run parallel to the right field wall to handle it, remember the ball that McGuire hit in the All-Star game? In the same area in the right field corner, just missed hitting it out. Same story here.
That's what he's saying to Steinbach. He said, you know, I hit that ball pretty good. I thought it was gone, and I see him running over, and it will make you talk to yourself.
0-2 to Ron Hasse. And he's badly fooled on an off-speed pitch, and that gives Hershiser a half a dozen strikeouts. And whatever it was in the early going, when he appeared to be struggling and fighting himself, and a strike to Carney Lansford.
Good fastball to a fastball hitter. He's got confidence in that pitch now where he didn't have it early. He didn't have that good fastball, and Dempsey and Hershiser went hunting and found it.
Changed up on him, 2-0. Lansford singled and scored the only Athletics run. Flied to center in the fourth. Made an exceptionally fine play on the ball hit by Hamilton in the fifth inning.
What he did to Los Angeles, Hershiser, he just kind of goes back there and goes over the scouting report, to literally talking to himself to know exactly what he wants to do.
2-1. And he knows it, running out of time with 2 out in the 7th. Lasorda and Joe Ferguson know they're getting closer to the bubble. Lifted that one, a fly ball to center. I think Carney would like to have taken that swing back. So they're gone in the 7th at the end of 7. Dodgers 5, A's 1. To Mickey Hatcher, 1 ball and no strikes. Hatcher had a very big hit in the first inning. Not just a home run, but it seemed to really lift the Dodgers and got them off. And, of course, the one thing I'm sure that Tony La Russa wanted to do, down 3-1, was to beat the Dodgers to the scoreboard. And Hatcher's home run, boy, that lit him up. And he hits a one-hopper at Phillips, and Tony makes the play. If ever there was a man in the stands, and all of us can relate to it, a father who could say, that's my boy, it would be that gentleman who is gesturing to his friends, 6 outs to go. There's his son. Mike Marshall, the batter. He's up there.
And I tell you, I just marvel. When I watch him hit, I watch his feet. Now, that first swing, he lifted his leg up much like the Sadahara O of the Japanese baseball. Now, see if he does it again. Not quite as much, but he just goes to whacking, man.
Pops it up in a trio. Any one of the 3, it'll be Henderson. So quickly, 2 out in the 8th inning. When the A's come up in the bottom of the 8th, they are due to send up Tony Phillips, Walt Weiss, Julian Javier.
Center fielder, John Selby.
There's that kick of his.
Did I say Julian?
Yes, you did.
Huh?
Understandable. And Julio appreciates it.
I was thinking, you know, about that's my boy.
Yep. And I'm sure that's what Julian is thinking.
1-0. 1-1. Shelby 0 for 3 on strikeouts. 1-2.
You'd never know that he had all those strikeouts. His expression really never changes.
Never.
Home run, strikeout, it stays the same.
You talk about that word inscrutable. It really should be applied to John. 2-2.
Was it Dempsey said he was on the club 3 years before he knew he could talk?
5 runs, 8 hits to the Dodgers. 1 run, 2 hits for Oakland.
And I tell you, that is really a misnomer to a degree that Hershiser, as you see right there, he was really struggling. And you're going to hear a lot of talk if he wins this game from the Oakland A saying we let him get away.
He's patting Mike Sharperson, a young infielder who is not eligible to play, but is there wearing the uniform with the rest of the gang. All 4. So the 2-out walk to Shelby will bring up Mike Davis and also Tony La Russa. He has Rick Honeycutt down in the bullpen.
Well, he got burned the last time. Remember, he had a 2-out walk to Davis, and then Dempsey hit the double.
So La Russa is going to make a move, and so will we. A remarkable story for a fellow who was so frustrated trying to make the major league. A left-hander who kept being cut almost the last day of spring training every year and still insists the Dodgers made a terrible mistake in keeping Koufax and sending him out. But Tommy Lasorda right now sitting on top of the world.
It's an impressive record.
Rick Honeycutt will be pitching to Mike Davis with John Shelby at first, 2 out in the 8th inning. And the Dodgers leading the A's 5-1. Mike hit a 3-0 pitch for a 2-run home run in the 4th inning that might very well be labeled the crusher. I mean, that where Hatcher's was the inspiration. Davis is the one that really took the life right out of the place.
It had more than just a home run touch to it, or flair, because it was a 3-0 pitch, and Lasorda, you just wouldn't figure that Davis would be given the green light because of the year he had, but Lasorda, sensing something, gave him the green light and really paid off, and that was the crusher. That was the one that really, the fans, I don't think the fans recovered from it, much less the Oakland A's, the ball players.
0-1. Little foul off third. Carney coming in a hurry. Can't get it. Great effort.
Ball was hit off the handle, and he made a great effort because it kept slicing away from him, and you can see the effort. He slid a long way. Watch him. He knows he's got a lot of room. Down he goes, but just can't quite get to it.
I was thinking, you know, you talk about the maddening part of this game, and I mean the game of baseball. In the 4th inning, if you're Storm Davis, you're very much in the game. And a little squibber by Hatcher up along third. He barely beats it out with a belly whopper. You strike out Marshall and Shelby, and then Davis hits a 3-0 pitch for a 2-run home run, and then you strike out Dempsey. So in an inning that saw Storm Davis strike out the side, he was also dealt his most severe blow. There is concern in the near corner of the Dodger dugout, and I believe it would be concerning the plate umpire, Jerry Crawford, who walked over along with several of the other umpires, immediately went to where the trainers were. And I have to guess there's something wrong with Jerry. Meanwhile, all Hershiser can do is keep throwing to stay loose.
Harvey and Crawford walked over there. I don't know if it's equipment. Cousins over there now.
Yeah, I wouldn't think there would be such an anxious knot of players for just equipment.
I don't know. I can't see.
Hershiser has concluded his warm-ups. He's saying, come on now. And now Jerry is limping as he comes back.
They must have taped that left knee is what it was.
Yep, Crawford in pain. Meanwhile, Jose Gonzalez is now in left field replacing Mickey Hatcher.
You talk about that's my boy. How about old Shag Crawford watching this World Series? And Shag saying, that's my boy.
Gary Crawford behind the plate. We're going to the bottom of the 8th inning. Hatcher hit a 2-run home run in the 1st inning. The A's came back on a scoring fly ball to get a run in the 3rd. Mike Davis hit a 2-run home run in the 5th, and the Dodgers added another when Dempsey doubled in Mike Davis. So the Dodgers lead the A's 5-1. Storm Davis, Greg Cadaret, and Gene Nelson, and Rick Honeycutt for Oakland, and Oral Hershiser for Los Angeles. Tony Phillips had a hit-and-run single to the hole at short and struck out.
Hershiser warning both Stubbs and Hamilton, be alive.
Crowd trying to will its ball club to get a move on. Let's go A's. 0-1. Boy, how they've wanted to cheer, but the only chance they had so far was in the 3rd inning.
Left field is calling time for some reason. Gonzalez, somebody's throwing things or what? I don't know. It's a ball behind second base. Harvey just picked it up.
1 ball and no strikes to Tony Phillips. In there. 49,317 here at the Oakland Coliseum. 1 ball, 1 strike. In there, 1-2.
I'll tell you, I think Dempsey's done an outstanding job tonight because as you look at Mike Davis, no doubt that Hershiser was struggling, stayed with him, kept looking for the fastball, got it, had the curveball most of the night, and they're really mixing him up.
Breaking ball fouled away. Hershiser starts this 8th inning, having retired 10 in a row. The last man to get aboard was Hasse with a 2-out walk in the 4th inning. The only 2 hits he allowed was when he looked out of sync, and they were back-to-back hits in the 3rd inning. Two and 2.
There have really been 2 pieces of strategy, Vin, I think, in this game. That 3-0 pitch by Mike Davis and then that hit-run play with Phillips.
Right.
So it's really been station, back to basics.
2 balls and 2 strikes. And he goes 3-2 to the leadoff man, Phillips. He has walked 2 tonight. Henderson back in the 3rd inning, and Hasse in the 4th. The A's looking for a break, trying to get something started. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And he walked him, and for the Dodgers, that has to be a storm signal.
The bullpen might be stern.
Jay Howell goes jogging down along with Jesse Orosco. When you are a control pitcher and you're leading by 4 and you walk the leadoff man in an inning, that's a storm signal. The Dodgers and Lasorda have scored 5 runs, either on a walk or a hit batter. Runner going and a ground ball to Stubbs for the out.
Caught me by surprise, 5-1, and playing hit and run. I don't know.
The Weiss, a roller to Stubbs. Phillips advances to second, and Stan Javier coming up. So Jay Howell, who had that big head-to-head confrontation last night, going back to work with Alejandro Pena. Javier grounded out hard, had a scoring fly ball, and struck out. Bouncer up the middle. Scoring is Phillips to make it 5-2 Dodgers, and this crowd can make a little noise now, as the A's are a long way from being out of it.
That play paid off for La Russa by starting the runner. Phillips gets the second, scores on the ground ball.
And now you go swimming in the deep water with Henderson, Canseco, and Parker. And Ron Perlinoski is going out to the mound to talk to Hershiser. As we said, that walk to Phillips in the 8th inning was an indication that something was wrong. And Howell and Pena continue to heat up.
You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 guys. One swing of the bat can pick you up a couple runs.
Remember, Mr. Hershiser held his fingers up to a friend a few rows back. 6 outs to go. Now it's 5 outs to go. Laurel has made 91 pitches.
And he's pacing once again.
Dave Henderson, the batter, popped to short, walked and struck out. Ball 1, and now the crowd has a glimmer of hope.
I would think this would be Hershiser's man to get, or it'll be a move made.
And he's high and inside, and he's behind 2-0. And now the Dodgers, who have been sitting back, get restless, and the Oakland A's flex up. Two and 0 to Henderson. Ball 3. And now this crowd that has been so quiet since the 3rd inning comes alive. And a chant. Oro. 3-0.
And there he goes, playing games. They're going to try everything these days. They've got it going.
And he walked him. He had walked 2 batters in 7 innings. He has walked 2 of the 4 batters he has faced in the 8th. And Dempsey heading for the mound.
He's buying time because they're looking to make a move.
Jose Canseco, and how many times have we said it in this series, is the tying run.
They want to know if they're ready on the bullpen, and they're not getting any answer because they're taking the hat off, and they're going to send. They want to see what's happening here.
I think we sort of said let him go just then. So apparently it'll be Hershiser going head-to-head with Jose Canseco. 2 on, 1 out in the 8th, 5-2 Dodgers. Foul ball, hard, down into the pen.
Looks like Lasorda's saying he got me this far, I'm going to stay with him.
Henderson at first, Javier at second, 1 out in the 8th. So he was inside, now outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Sidearmed him 2 of the 3 times that Canseco's been up there, struck him out once and got him on a fly ball to right field.
Hit down the line, foul into the Dodger bullpen. We have seen several times Tony La Russa pacing in the Oakland dugout as you look at Parker on deck. Just above the lineup card in the Oakland dugout is a word. It is directly above the lineup card. And it's a word that the American League is very familiar with. It is a word the Dodgers worried about ever since the series started. There it is, flammable. You betcha. 1-2 the count to Canseco. You know what? This is the way it should be.
Exactly. I wonder if he'll try to side on him. Good curveball. He really fought off a tough pitch there. Canseco.
So the two big stars locked with the ball game on the line. Canseco at the plate, Hershiser on the mound. One out.
He placed that in a great spot.
Canseco had backed out. On the fists, a little pop fly to Stubbs. He jammed him, and it's the infield fly rule. Now that's $1 million pitch plus.
Yes, it is, because it was the one pitch he wanted to throw. You saw him with the great close-up that we had of Hershiser really shaking off the pitch. I tell you, he is really battling. Bulldog is perfect. You can see those arms pull in as he just could not get a good swing at that good fastball. I tell you, Lasorda is going a long way with him.
2 out in the 8th inning. And Dave Parker, the batter. Parker lined out to Sachs, grounded to Stubbs, and rolled out to Griffin, the shortstop. 0 for 3, representing the tying run.
And Dempsey, you could see the way they were in that long conversation, just making sure exactly what the sequence of pitches are going to be used against Parker. Canseco 1 for 19, and they followed that scouting report to a T.
Javier at second, Henderson at first, and the Cobra at the plate. And it got away at the plate, and the runners move up. It must have hit Dempsey's shin guard to bounce like that.
Might have hit Jerry Crawford. I think it hit Crawford, the umpire. Let's see, because it's inside and looks like it hit Crawford's leg. He doesn't. It did. It hit him right on the shoe. Dempsey did not get a glove on it, and Jerry, who was limping before, watch it. It goes right under the glove, and usually you kind of come up with the glove and shift over, but when it hit Crawford's leg, it just carried him to where Dempsey didn't know where it was.
So Crawford wearing shin guards and safety shoes, and that's why the ball shot off so erratically. It hit right down there and went flying off to the left. It was, of course, a wild pitch. So second and third, 2 out. It puts a lot of pressure on the infield. No force play handy. You have Javier at third, Henderson at second, 2 away. Parker with McGuire on deck. And remember, McGuire last night had a big at-bat with the bases loaded and popped up. 5-2 Dodgers, 2 out, 8th inning. Right. 1-1. Dennis Eckersley and Eric Plunk in the A's bullpen. Alejandro Pena and Jesse Orozco in the Dodger pen.
Parker will chase the curveball low and inside.
And he did. 1 and 2.
He is anxious up there, and Dempsey did a great job of blocking that ball. He knew it, and I tell you, your pitcher has to have confidence in you that you will block that ball, or he will not throw it. He'll get it up. Look how low this pitch is.
Especially on the heels of a wild pitch.
Exactly. Now, he really gets in front of it, and if the pitcher doesn't have confidence, he'll bring that curveball up, and then he's in big trouble.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Got him on that low breaking ball. 1 run, 1 hit, 2 left, and at the end moment in the moment, and now you see what happened. The curveball swung on and missed by Dave Parker.
I tell you, Vin, he went a long way with Hershiser. I tell you, he stuck with him.
It was interesting. He had Howell and Pena throwing, and all of a sudden, as we see Mr. Hershiser saying 3 outs to go, we could read Tommy's lips when he said, let him go. And that's when we knew that Hershiser was going to stay in.
When he walked Henderson, I thought that was big, big trouble. And tribute to Hershiser and to Lasorda.
He just reminded everybody, 3 more outs. We referred to Mickey Hatcher as a loose cannon. I guess really Jose Canseco would be the quiet cannon in right field. How many times he has had the chance, and of course did deliver the slam. Eric Plunk working on Rick Dempsey. Ball 1.
It's only hit in the series.
Canseco with a runner at first hit into a force play, and then of course popped up in the 8th, flied out in the 6th. Fly ball right center. Canseco and Henderson. It'll be Jose. Boy, when you have been in the spotlight as he has been in all year, and deservedly so, and then to be completely shut down except for that one early swing, that's a heavy load to carry.
And that really is.
And I wonder if he wasn't thinking about anything but the game that time he was running out to his position without his glove.
I'll tell you, that 1 for 19, of course it wasn't at that time 1 for 19. That'll make you think about a lot of things.
Jeff Hamilton 0 for 3. Big breaking ball on the corner for a strike. And Tony La Russa looking at his card. He has McGuire, Hasse, and Lansford in the bottom of the 9th. By the way, not to put any more dead bodies at the footstep at the door of Jose Canseco, he's not alone in being a superstar who has been held very much so in check in the World Series. Popped up, foul, McGuire down the line. It's his call. In 1981, in the World Series between the Yankees and the Dodgers, Dave Winfield had 1 hit in 22 at-bats. La Russa now with Alfredo Griffin, the batter. And he's going to make a move. In 1983, in the World Series, Mike Schmidt had 1 hit in 20 at-bats. It is more than just a substitution. It's a sign of sensitivity and thoughtfulness. Tony La Russa had 1 man who had not appeared in the World Series, Todd Burns. He got him in there. That's a lovely thing to do.
I think it's a real touch of class on La Russa's part. The only other one I can think of was Sparky Anderson. He was losing, and Pat Corrales had not been in the game. Real touch of class.
Strike 2. 0-2 the count.
Because you just don't know when that next World Series is going to roll around for you, if ever. Take a look at a guy like Ernie Banks, who's on the field. Never played in one.
Little ground ball wide to third. Carney Lansford over to McGuire. Okay. McGuire, Hasse, and Lansford due up in the bottom of the 9th. Dodgers 5, A's 2. Like father, like son. And we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Dodgers trying to win the 1988 World Series right now. And standing in the way of Oral Hershiser, Mark McGuire, Ron Hasse, and Carney Lansford. Mark McGuire flied to center, struck out, fly deep to right. The hero the other night with his 9th inning home run.
I think you're going to see Hershiser behind that mound a lot because in Dodger Stadium, that's what he did, and just kind of regrouped almost on every pitch to make sure he knew exactly what he wanted to do.
Pena and Orozco are behind him in the bullpen. Off speed, so starts him with a change. 1 ball and no strikes. Fastball, 1-1. Breaking ball is hit to left center. Back goes Shelby to the wall to make the catch.
Well, you're going to look at McGuire's average and say he didn't hit much in this series, but he's hit some balls hard here and didn't get any base hits.
He hit one to center last night that died at the last minute. He hit that long fly ball to right that looked like it had a chance to go out. Now he hits one that dies, and I really have to believe it's because it's getting so much cooler. 1 down in the 9th. Ron Hasse flied to left, walked, struck out. Carney Lansford on deck. Strike. So in the 8th inning, he started off by walking Phillips and got in trouble. Now he gets McGuire and picks up the strike to Hasse. And the breaking ball.
Dead low ball pull hitter, and he throws a fastball outside, not a breaking ball.
Talking about that breaking ball, Dave Parker, I think, will be thinking about that all winter.
Yes, he will.
No balls and 2 strikes to Ron Hasse. Breaking ball got him looking. 8 strikeouts for Oral Hershiser.
And it really began in the 5th inning when he really settled in.
1 out to go for him, his teammates, and his family in the stand. And standing in the way, Carney Lansford.
He's made 108 pitches up until right now.
Lansford single, scored a run, and twice flied to center. His single went to center. Ground ball to the hole, backhanded by Griffin. Off balance throw is too late. And the A's are still alive.
Griffin ended up right on the foul line. He really made a fine play. Was not satisfied just to come up with it. Tried to get his man in first base, but it was almost an impossible throw for him, and he did make it close.
By a whisker. And so Tony Phillips, as he was walking up to home plate, kept looking back at the Oakland dugout. And now he has reached home plate, so he knows he's up there to bat.
Tony Phillips.
Tony Phillips had an infield single to the hole, struck out and walked. Hershiser trying to help out young Jeff Hamilton as he gestured for the moment.
He gave everybody instructions. Stubbs and Sachs, watch the bunt.
Terry Steinbach comes out on deck. So Steinbach would be hitting for Walt Weiss. There goes the runner. They're not paying attention to him. Ball 2.
He's got to make sure that Steinbach doesn't get up there. 5-2, he'd be the tying run. So he's going to go off the full windup and bear down on Phillips.
Phillips single, struck out, walked, set up 1 run, scored 1. And going to third on ball 3. So Lansford getting a free ride. And now suddenly, and you know he was struggling in the 8th inning, Hershiser struggling in the 9th. And Steinbach waiting for 1 last shot. And Kurt Gibson knows what you can do with 1 last shot.
Interesting, Vin. You know it's a cool evening here, and there was Gibson sitting there, and he was sweating.
There's a lot of sweating going on here.
You can say that again.
3-0 to Phillips. Strike.
One play, you have no defense against a base on balls, and Hershiser knows that.
Three and one. And another one.
Well, he's taken all the way. They're going to make him run out the string. Here we are. And now watch Hershiser regroup.
To Tony Phillips. Lansford down the line from third with 2 out. Steinbach on deck. 5-2 Dodgers in the ninth. Got him. They've done it. Like the 1969 Mets. It's the impossible dream revisited.
A fastball, 9 strikeouts for Hershiser. He gives up a total of 4 hits, and look at the mob. It looked like he was going to be replaced, but he hung in there. Bulldog is quite a name.
And meanwhile, Jose Canseco quietly goes back to the dressing room. The biggest single gun for the Oakland Athletics, thoroughly muffled in the series. And Mr. Oral Hershiser Sr. can finally relax for a moment. The A's, a great hitting ball club, hit 177 in the series and scored a total of 11 runs in 5 games.
Never would have believed it unless you saw it. You'd have to attribute it to pretty good pitching. Very good pitching.
And especially by the leader on the staff, the master of the house, Oral Hershiser, who has had really the most remarkable length of success of any pitcher I have ever seen.
I tell you, that streak he had, hardly was ever be broken, and he's just been on such a roll, and Lasorda stayed right with him, and you have to give him a lot of credit. The 3-0 green light he gave to Davis, letting Hershiser finish it, and look at it.
A reminder, of course, as soon as the players leave the field, Marvin Bob will be down in the Dodger clubhouse, and you can share the celebratory moment with them. The runway that tonight's NBC Miller Lite Player of the Game would have to be Oral Hershiser. Miller Lite happy to present a check for $1,000 in the name of Oral Hershiser to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Boy, anytime you can hold the Oakland Athletics to 2 runs and strike out 9, limit them to only 4 hits, you are indeed the player of the game. Friends, the 1988 World Series has been brought to you by Miller Genuine Draft, cold filtered for real draft taste. It's as real as it gets. By Buick and your Buick dealer, the great American road belongs to Buick. And by Federal Express, who reminds you that it's not just a package, it's your business. We'll be back with interviews from the victorious dressing room after this. This 1988 World Series postgame show is brought to you by the heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. And let's go to Bob Costas.
All right, Vin, thanks very much. Oral Hershiser has been named the most valuable player. We'll have the presentation of the Chevrolet trophy in just a moment. But first of all, I guess, besides the congratulations, we might say that it's a remarkable thing that when a pitcher gives up 4 hits and strikes out 9, they're talking about him struggling and not having his best stuff.
Well, I did struggle out there. I think at times I got a little pumped up and threw the ball high and away. I threw a lot of change-ups and off-speed pitches, once we got the big lead. And that kind of threw me out of sync. I was throwing a lot of change-ups and off-speed pitches, and then when I went back to the hard stuff and got in trouble, the fastball would ride high and away because of a different energy level. And I struggled, but only gave up 2 runs, fortunately.
What thoughts were going through your mind? We saw you, your head back between innings, your eyes closed, almost meditating.
Well, I was just sitting there, I was really singing hymns, and I was just kind of relaxing and singing hymns to myself to keep my adrenaline down, because every time I thought about the game and us ahead in the World Series, I got too excited to pitch, and I just wanted to sit back and take some deep breaths, and I just started singing to myself.
Were you surprised Lasorda stuck with you through the tough 8th inning?
Well, I looked in the dugout and kind of gave him a high sign like I'm all right, because I knew one more visit. They couldn't come out and talk to me. And I said, I'm okay. And I just gave him the glove down that I'm okay. And he stuck with me. And I got Jose to pop out and then struck out Parker. And I know I had our bench awfully nervous.
Are you conscious of your mom and dad, your wife, people that are close to you in the stands? Do you make eye contact?
I make eye contact with my wife a whole lot during the game, just when I walk in and off the field. And my parents are right next to them, so I knew they were there, but I really think I'm just looking for my wife. In Dodger Stadium, it's a lot easier because I hit, and when I come in the on-deck circle, that's when I give my high sign and talk to her kind of even through sign language. But here, when you don't hit, it's kind of tough.
How can you be so composed after a season like this and a playoff and World Series performance like this that really has, I think it's fair to say, etched you a spot eternally in baseball lore? How can you be so composed?
Well, I just feel like the Lord has just blessed me with composure, and he's kept me calm through the whole thing. And I know this isn't a religious show, but I just thank God for everything that's happened this year for our ball club, the way we stuck through, for the injuries that we've come through. And Fred Clare just put an outstanding ball club on the field. And the reason he did that is just because he went in the free agent market. He didn't go talent for talent with trades. He got us some big players, some guys to give us some depth. And you got to give a lot of credit to that man also.
Somebody once said of Sandy Koufax after a moment like this, when they couldn't find him in the clubhouse for a few minutes, they asked, where is he? And a teammate said, he's been called up to a higher league. That has to be the next step for you. You're too good for these guys.
No, I feel like I'm climbing a mountain every time out there, Bob. I mean, it is really hard to pitch in the big leagues. Believe me, it's a war out there. And those Oakland A's, you got to give them a lot of credit. They're an outstanding ball club, but I think they just ran into us when we were pitching very, very hot, and we were getting a lot of key hits. I mean, you can't expect a whole lot of runs out of lineup we put out there, but these guys really had a lot of character and a lot of heart, and we wanted to win.
Oral, congratulations again. We'll ask you to come back in a couple of minutes to accept the trophy.
Oh, thanks, Bob.
We'll take a break and talk with Tommy Lasorda when we return to a wild Dodger clubhouse as the postgame show continues in just a moment.
Welcome back to the Oakland Coliseum. Marv Albert in the office of Oakland A's manager Tony La Russa. Tony, how disappointing is this for you?
Very. We feel like we let a lot of people down. We wanted it real bad. I congratulate Tom, his coaches, players, their whole organization. They did what they had to do. They beat us. Very disappointed. But I'll tell you, Marv, so that I hope everybody hears this. I hope it gets back to our players. I'm very proud of our players. We got beat. We tried. We took our shot. We had a great year. It just didn't work at the end.
How do you explain Jose Canseco, 1 for 19, Mark McGwire, 1 for 17? That's the story of the World Series.
I think there's one big explanation. Dodger pitching shut us down. It's been the same story for years, for 100 years in baseball. If you make quality pitches, and I don't care how good a hitter you are, you're not going to make good enough contact. So I credit their pitching, but like I said, we're disappointed, but I'm very proud of what this club accomplished, and sometime later we'll have a very positive feeling.
All right, looking back, are there any moves that you would do differently?
No. I can't. Probably the only thing that I would have done differently was the only game we won. When at one time that I didn't bunt Weiss because I thought they were playing bunt defense. I look at it, Stubbs was staying by the bag. We could have bunted, but we ended up winning that game. Other than that, we were trying to push. You saw today, we only got 2 guys on base, and we had run both times. We were trying to push, but against Hershiser, we never got anybody on.
You feel the A's were pressing?
I think they're towards the end. Early on, I thought we were ready. But then when you start piling up at-bats and outs and there's not success, you start to try to force it, and that's a very tough way to play.
All right, Tony, thanks for coming. Dejected Oakland A's manager Tony La Russa. Different atmosphere, as you might expect, in the Dodger clubhouse. Let's get back to Bob Costas.
All right, Marv, a gracious Tony La Russa, one of baseball's best managers. There's every chance he'll be back. But the moment now belongs to Tommy Lasorda. And before we talk with him and with his general manager, Fred Clare, let's turn to Commissioner Peter Ueberroth, who has the presentation of the championship trophy, which belongs to the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Well, baseball's a world sport, but the Dodgers are in the center of the world tonight, and they've done it, and they've done it by just playing good old fight, and they've fooled a lot of people, but it's a compliment to the organization, to these three gentlemen here. So without further ado, I must say the President of the United States has invited the entire team to the White House. He would like you there on Wednesday, and I hope you'll accept his invitation. We'll dispense with the phone call tonight, and I'd like to, if I can, to Peter O'Malley. You deserve this. Fred Clare.
Thank you, Commissioner. Tommy and Fred and I accept this, Commissioner, on behalf of the great team we have in the front office and on the field. We're very happy and we're very thankful. Thank you.
Peter, when the President calls, I guess you'll be there Wednesday.
We're honored to be invited, and we sure will be there. I think all the players will be there.
Fred Clare, so many of the players spontaneously have given credit to you in your first full year as general manager. What a dream come true.
I give the credit to the players, to Tommy, to the staff, to every member of the Dodger organization, because in this room tonight, I feel the presence of all the people there who have helped us, our scouts, our minor league people, everyone who has contributed to the Dodgers, past and present. They're with us tonight. We accept this on their behalf.
All right, Tommy, now to you. You don't need a question. Just make your statement.
Well, I want to say, to reiterate what Peter and Fred said, you know, for 2 years we suffered a great deal, and now the Dodgers are back on top. We are the world champs of baseball. And I'll tell you something, it is a great, great ball club. They never quit believing in themselves. They have to be an influence on everybody in the world, because it shows you what someone can do when he really wants something bad enough. Nobody believed that this team could finish first in the division. Nobody believed that we could beat the Mets. Nobody believed that we can beat the Athletics, who won 104 games. We did it. A great ball club. We want to thank the Oakland organization for the way they treated us here. They were outstanding, and the fans were great here. So we want to say to all of our fans, here is the championship that we always hoped that you would get back, and we're very, very proud of all our fans and everybody in the entire organization.
And speaking of your opponents, Tom, American League President Dr. Bobby Brown here very graciously to extend his congratulations. I know he wants to move in for a handshake.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much.
You know, it was a great series. You won your division, you beat the Mets, and you beat the Athletics, and you're the world's champions, and you deserved it.
Played great.
Thanks, Bobby. And I want to say to the Oakland baseball team and Tony La Russa, they gave us a good battle. They're great people, and we wish them luck in 1989.
We'll be back to the Dodger clubhouse as the postgame celebration continues right after these messages.
All right.
What are we supposed to be doing?
I just paid $50,000.
We're back in the Dodger clubhouse. It's time for the presentation of the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Series Award, representing Chevrolet, Otto LeBron Jr., sales manager for the Chevrolet Motor Division. And let me dip out of the way as you can take care of Mr. Hirschheimer.
Laurel, congratulations and on a terrific season. We're very happy to present you with the Most Valuable Player Award. Super season. Now, in addition, we've got a passenger car truck that you can give to your favorite charity.
All right. Well, I'd like to accept this award on behalf of my whole team. We got some guys on this team that play with a lot of heart. I think that Mickey Hatcher had an outstanding series. Steve Sachs, the bullpen came through and had a great series. And I received the award, yes, but I received it on behalf of my team. And as far as the car and going to a charity, the van, and I'll take that award. I will take it and I will donate. I was named the Cystic Fibrosis chairman this year of the LA Dodgers 65 Roses Club, and I'd like to donate it to that charity.
Great.
Thank you.
I'll get it for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Oral.
Oral Hirschheimer, congratulations again. And as the celebration continues here, we'll send it back upstairs to the broadcast booth at the Oakland Coliseum. Whoa! I almost made it to the end. Vin and Joe are plenty dry, fellas.
Well, and what most people feel is the year of the improbable. We saw the Dodgers do what the experts thought was impossible. We saw and heard a lot of things in the clubhouse, but I haven't heard anyone mention it yet. But it's simply this. In a year that saw the Dodgers win the World's Championship against a great ball club, the Oakland Athletics, and they did it in 5 games, The Dodgers' leading candidate for the most valuable player, Kirk Gibson, had one at bat.
One at bat, and what a one at bat it was. This World Series gave us a lot of excitement. And I tell you, we also saw, I think, just don't want to throw it away, that touch of class of La Russa letting Todd Burns pitch. It's been a great year. It was climaxed by this great World Series, and it's just good to be a part of it.
And indeed, it was to see the ex-Dodgers in A's uniforms, the ex-A's in Dodger uniforms, and finally it was settled as the Dodgers in 5 games defeat the A's 5-2. For Joe Garagiola, this is Vin Scully from the Oakland Coliseum. Good night.
Pain, I rise and fall, yet through it This has been a presentation of